For today's cup of coffee, we're going to be talking about the subject of energy vampires or psychic vampires. And almost everyone has had some kind of an encounter with these types of vampires. Now, sanguineous vampires, not like Interview with the Vampire and stuff like that. To my knowledge, those are not around. If they are, I no. But as far as sanguineous vampires, sometimes within certain communities, especially some of the hardcore goth communities, these are people that actually do exchange blood. And I would not suggest that because there's just a whole lot of diseases that can be transmitted through sharing of blood. So yeah, think twice before you would go in that direction. But as far as the energy vampires, what happens that someone becomes one of these is that their energy source, their aura, their energy field becomes so befouled. Usually this is through thoughts, actions, different things like that, that they can no longer sustain their own life force. So what they have to do is borrow life force or energy from other people. And like I said, almost everyone has had an encounter with this type of person. It could be somebody that you randomly bump up against in a store. This is why I'm very much a fan of social distancing. It's like, no, stay out of my bubble. But usually these are people that will call, you have contact with. Sometimes it's family members. Yeah, and that you feel drained after you have any kind of an encounter. It doesn't matter if it's for a few minutes or if it's hours. Sometimes you can feel so fatigued that you have to go lay down, take a nap. But it takes you a while to recover. And if you're already having issues, some kind of medical issue or energy issue, that can actually incapacitate you for several days. I've had that happen myself. So especially during winter, I like to stay in because I have fatigue issues anyhow, and I don't have enough energy to sustain myself, let alone be vampirized. The one individual in particular that I'm thinking of, for 26 years, I had contact with this individual. And they would ask me questions. I would give them answers. They would go away for a day or two. They would not apply any of the suggestions because they did not want a fix to their problem. They wanted the problem to persist, so that gave them an excuse to have other contact with me. And at a certain point, I just had to break all contact with this individual because it's like, no, 26 years of you feeding off of me, that is enough. If it's family members, that's a harder thing because then you've got the guilt and you can minimize the amount of time that you spend with these people. What do you do to protect yourself from psychic vampires? As a believer, one of the things that I do is plead the blood of Jesus and ask that Christ protect me, and so that no evil can enter into my spirit, into my personal space, into my home. Now, as far as other ways that you can do, you can visualize. Now, this is realm of spirit, folks, so it's not like you're making believe. This does have a bearing, just as thoughts can become realities. This is one of those thoughts that can become a reality. One of the easier ones is to picture yourself inside of a bubble. Now, you can make it any kind of bubble that you want. What I like to do a lot of times if I feel like I'm under psychic attack is to visualize a mirrored bubble so that anything that is looking for me on an energetic level, all they're going to see is themselves. If you want to get a little more hardcore, and I have had times in the past I've had to do that, make yourself a nice flaming bubble where you're safe inside, but it's going to burn anything that's going to try to get near you. You can do spikes. Get creative with it. You can do this type of thing. So those are some of the ways when you learn to keep your space, like I said, especially from strangers and different things like that. Now remember, you can have psychic vampires even on the internet. Yeah, the trolls and stuff like that. If you allow yourself to be drawn into somebody else's drama, guess what? You feeding the beast. So no, be smart about that. So these are different things that we can do. We can learn to protect ourselves. I really believe that there is a link between narcissistic personality disorder and psychic vampires. Because if you're dealing with a narcissist, they will certainly drain you and they will set you up. They'll ask you a question, you give them an answer, and what do they want to do? They want to argue or tell you that you're wrong. And anytime that you're around a narcissist, what happens? Same thing, you feel drained. So these are ways that we can protect ourselves. Be armed with knowledge. That's one of the best things that you can ever do. Let me know if you like the new thumbnail. Youngest kid is trying to get me to switch those up a little bit. I'm a creature of habit. I actually like to have those. So on days that I don't feel like recording a new thumbnail, I can go back in my coffee mug collection and just grab something quickly. But I'm trying. You all have a beautiful, blessed day. Be sure to send your spooky stories, questions, encounters, anything like that to me at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. Talk to you later. Bye.